Objectmon. Pokemon that are based off of objects rather than animals or legends. Nobody really likes them. Hi, I'm Gooba, back with another video, where today we'll be talking about, obviously, Objectmon. Now, here's the thing. I actually like most Objectmon. You know, there are some that aren't too good or I don't like, and that will be an entire another section, but the ones that I do like will also be another section. That's specifically what this video is about, so let's get right into it. Starting off with Bronzong and Bronzor. These I like partially because they're good in battle, but also because of the origin behind them. Starting off with Bronzor, it's surprisingly a mirror. Not a plate, not a gong, a mirror. A bronze mirror that was made in China. Now, it may not look too reflective now with all the rust and thousands of years of dirt, because they don't make them with bronze anymore. Make them with glass, obviously. But once you take all that rust away, it's about as reflective as a spoon, which is pretty good in my opinion. And Bronzong's obviously a bell. But what I really like is that they're based off of Japanese legend. Now, I should say, just based off of legend. I have no idea what actually happened or what actually didn't. These are just stories, but they're still pretty cool stories, so let's get into it. So, the story starts off in Japan, where the priests of the temple wanted a new bell for the temple, so they decided to ask all the women of the village to give up their bronze mirrors to be melted down and made into a bell. One of these mirrors is interesting, though, because it was the mirror of a farmer's wife, and when she gave it, she decided she actually didn't want to give it and wanted back, because there's this proverb that says that a mirror is a woman's soul, so she thought that by giving away the mirror, she gave away her soul. She didn't have enough money to buy it back, though. Whenever she went to the temple, she could always just see it, right there, but the opportunity never really arose for her to steal it, so she couldn't. Eventually, she ran out of time to steal it back, and they all went off to be melted down and be turned into that bell I was talking about earlier. For whatever reason, though, one of them didn't melt. This was apparently a sign that whoever donated it actually didn't want to give it up. No idea how that correlates, but that's the story, so that's what I'm going to say. When it was found out that she was the one that gave the mirror that didn't melt because she didn't want to give it up, she couldn't bear the shame and drowned herself. But before she did, she wrote a note that said once she died, it could be melted down and used to be a part of the bell. And that's pretty much the end. Cool little Easter egg to this. Both Bronzor and Bronzong can have the heat-proof ability, which makes them, well, heat-proof. Just like the mirror was in the fire. So that's pretty cool. Next up on the list are Phantom and Trevenant. Now, these are cool not because of their origin or whatever, but because Game Freak touched on something very dark with their origin. It's basically a stump that gets possessed by a child. You know, a child goes into forest and then dies, and then his ghost possesses a stump. That is cool. You cannot say otherwise. That's just a cool thing. Next we have Garbodor and Trubbish. Yeah, they're ugly. But have you ever seen a pretty trash bag? Yeah, that's the point. They're not appealing Pokemon because they're not supposed to be. But actually, I think that it is a pretty cool design in general. And there's Palisand. I like I'm not exactly sure on what it's based on specifically. All I know is living sand that can take control of your mind. It's cool. And here's the ones that I don't like. This is the list you've all been waiting for, starting with Voltorb. I'm fine with Electrode. I think the whole thing of trying to pick up a Pokeball but it turns out to be a Pokemon instead is pretty cool. But Electrode is very lazy, to say the least. Like, they could have done something with his design, but instead they just flipped Voltorb. Next up are Clink, Cling, and Clink Clang. Very boring design. We got 2 cogs, more cogs, and bigger, more cogs. It's not good. Yeah, and so that's the video. Those are Pokemon that are based off of items. What do you think? Did I miss any? that you might hate yourself or like yourself, tell me in the comments below. Subscribe to me and anyone else you want to. Like the video for my grandma's cookies, all the usual stuff. But before I go, there's something else that I have to say. That's right, it's Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Alright, have a good day.